Welcome to Hardwood Handicappers with Zach Cohen, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Zachary Cohen, VSiN.com senior editor, with another episode of Hardwood Handicappers. It is Friday, January 16th. We are recording this at 9 a.m. Eastern, and today I am joined by Kelley Bydlon, co-host of A Numbers Game, co-host of Long Shots Podcast. Kelley, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. Here on a different day with you. Happy to be here as always. But yeah, we had Long Shots started back up this week, golf season. So I called it the busiest week of podcasts in VSiN history earlier this week. I think on Wednesday we had about four or five or six different ones going. So yeah, it's been a wild week around here, man. But happy to be here on Friday morning talking NBA with you as always.
Yeah, so it's golf season for you. It's tennis season for me and Gil. So it is the country clubbing portion of the year for us sports fans. So it is exciting. But last night was a pretty fun night of NBA action, and we have another one coming up for tonight. Did you have any big takeaways from last night? I think the only two results that I really thought were worth mentioning at all were the Thunder beating the Rockets by 20. And then, the Hornets, a favorite of yours, mine, JVT.
Let's go.
All of us got in on the win total. They win by 18 against the Lakers in LA. What did you have to say about last night?
Yes, 71 points in the second half for the Charlotte Hornets. Add one to the Hornets win-o-meter. We'll get that done here this morning, that's for sure. Yeah, impressive. I mean, what offensive performance by Charlotte? I don't know if we need to spend too much time there. I think Lakers, though, this is... we're going to talk a little bit of win totals later. I know their Lakers under is one I've had my eye on too here. I haven't pulled the trigger, but I definitely lean that way. I think recently, Zach, we're starting to see more of the preseason concerns with this team, right? It was, is this defense really going to be able to show up like they did at the end of the last regular season when LeBron James was putting more effort, I think, into his defense than he had in about 7 years, and did an incredible job, right? But that was a big question mark for me heading into the season. Didn't really know how much of the roster how it was gonna flow around Luka Doncic, and with Austin Reeves, with no Austin Reeves still, it's a concern. I know he'll come back at some point here, but Lakers still, if anything, if people are looking to get involved in win totals, which this is the time of the year that I usually jump in on a couple. I think it's about midway point for a lot of these teams. You've seen enough. You can kind of look at schedules going forward, make a more calculated bet on win totals right now. So it would be a lean to them. That's kind of my big takeaway there. I know I'm just rambling through here. The Rockets and Thunder, I think this is just a good example game of why we shouldn't be overly concerned about the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? It's a easily win, go into Houston, win by 20, blow them out in the fourth quarter. Don't even need that many impressive performances by your stars, and they kind of make it look easy in the end.
Yeah, I think that, the Thunder, it's the type of thing where I've talked about it a little bit. Like, I still view this team as the title favorite. It's just I don't have them as big of a favorite as other people do. And I know that you share a similar stance on that. So we've talked about that a little. So I wasn't ever too worried about them. It's just a matter of, like, will they win these types of big playoff games with, a somewhat of a lack of shooting? So it's not that big of a deal when they lose a couple games, but definitely crazy when you're talking about the context of, like, we were talking about this team winning like 75 plus games, and that's no longer looking very possible. But yeah, I am a little bit worried about Houston though. Like, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the Rockets, and I believe you have something on them for the division, which I don't hate at all, but it's been a little bit, shaky the last 10 games.
So this is where I miss talking NBA every day with you and JVT so much, because these are the types of conversations. Well, I've been staring at this Houston price just getting longer in that division. It's probably been long enough, Zach, that I should trust what the numbers are telling me and what my eyes are telling me with San Antonio. But man, I don't know. I'm still expecting this team to come down a little bit, and I think Houston is just at its base too talented to drop off too much this season. I know it's completely fair to bring up some recent struggles that they've had, but man, long term, you play out the final 40 plus games of the season. I think there's a shot there. I'm kind of still waiting, but I really did want to talk through you just what you're looking at, and what you're seeing in that division overall, and if there is a bet there anywhere.
Well, I am with you in that I do think that the Spurs are going to tail off a little. I mean, like I had the under on their regular season win total, which is going to lose by a
Me
ton.
too.
But
Yeah, me too.
but like I do kind of agree that like there's kind of only down to go from where they started in the year, just because I do think the 3-point shooting still kind of a concern for me when I'm looking at the team. Like I don't think that they want to play Champagny as much as they have been, even though he has been awesome this year. But like I do think that those guards are all a little bit shaky when talking about shooting, and Wemby. Like he came back last night, right? But like he's always injured. Like something's always happening. So it's like there's always a chance that he's gonna miss, another 5 to 10 games at some point in the year, and other guys can miss some time. So I would say that there is opportunity for the Rockets. I just want to see some consistency out of Houston because I think that offensively they've been a little bit shaky, and like defensively they're not as good as they were last year. So I need them to kind of pick things up, and I need to stop seeing some, the bad vibes out of the Durant Twitter accounts that follow him like religiously.
I'll tell you the one thing that's really holding me back here, Zach, is just when I go over to dunks and threes and I look at the strength of schedules that these teams have played so far. I think no shocker with all the Thunder games that the Spurs are way up there. They played the fourth toughest schedule. But then you look at the Rockets and it's 26th, and you're like, all right, like that really, like that's really like the one thing kind of holding me back. This number's drifted out to 2-1 though after that game last night. I don't know, it's one I've got circled. It's one I've got my eye on. I would say that same thing kind of about the Lakers win total as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I think the Rockets are a better team than the Spurs, like pretty much straightforward. Like I do think that they are a better team than them. It's just a matter of will they be able to make up that ground the rest of the year. It is kind of crazy. Like you look at all the division races, there are some really good ones, and that's not always the case. Like the Atlantic, you have the Celtics, Knicks, and Raptors all within a game of each other. The Southeast, I think, is still somewhat open, even though I do think the Magic will probably take it now that they have all their guys back. And then, the Pacific has been kind of captivating to me. I'm in a situation now where I'll either win a little bit on the Lakers or I'll win a decent amount on the Suns. But if the Warriors win, I'm done. I'm screwed.
Yeah, and that's the that's what I like about attacking that Southwest Division, right? Where it's really just a match bet. 3 teams are basically out of it already, right? Grizzlies, Mavericks, Pelicans. It's really you're just match betting against Spurs and Rockets, really, with that number. So you're right. It's nice. It's nice as a basketball fan to have some of these tighter races, but from a betting side of it, I like that I'm just basically betting against one team.
Yeah, I don't like that I have opened up the possibility of the Warriors, who have now won like 7 of their last 10, to come in and absolutely derail all my futures for the season. But that's the way it is.
That's the way it goes.
Let's get into some of tonight's games. There's a bunch of them. I have a bunch of plays for tonight. I have 5 to be exact, so I have a lot. I know that you don't have quite as many, but I know you have some leans, and maybe we could talk you into some plays. So let's get into it. We'll start with
Yeah. You're the prop master. Hopefully you can, because I got nothing sides or total tonight. I know.
Well, I feel like it's like now that I'm doing the podcast every day, it's my job to have some plays here and there, and I probably ended up having a little bit too many, but it's been fun and I have been up, so we'll keep going with it.
Good.
But we'll start with the Pelicans and the Pacers. This game tips at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Pacers are 3.5 point favorites at home. Total is 239.5. Did you have any thoughts on this game at all? These are your Pelicans.
I was just going to say, me, it's always constantly leaning towards the New Orleans Pelicans. You've had a little bit of a resurgence from the Indiana side with their defense, though. Ninth best defensive rating in non-garbage time minutes over their last 9 games. That's pretty impressive to me. I don't know how much to build, how much to take out of that, Zach. And just, it's every time I want to go back to trusting New Orleans, you just look at what they're doing, and nothing changes. It's 2-8 in their last 10. They've got the 5th worst net rating over that time. I bought a 19th offensive rating, the 24th defensive rating. Like every time I want to try to start convincing myself, I'm going to pass on that one. Going to pass on that. I'll see. Honestly, we'll see where this line goes, though, right? Like if this is, I know we got no Herb Jones tonight. If Pacers keep taking money, though, this is out to 4. I mean, if we hit a 5, I'm in on Pelicans.
Yeah, I was with you. Like, I thought New Orleans was going to be a really good against the spread team the rest of the season. Like, I talked about that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, or maybe it was like a month at this point. I don't know. Time flies. But I think that just everything went downhill once Jordan Poole came back. And it's just like, I can't think of a player in the league that really like impacts winning less than him or even hurts your chances of winning. So having him just like continuing to like eat up minutes at the point guard spot, which is a very important position, does not really help. So that's why I don't think that they're really kind of taking that next step this season, at least. But I did take Zion over 23.5 points in this game at minus 115. We saw him kind of, light up this Pacers team back on December 20th. He scored 29 points in that game. And I do think that this matchup is really, really strong for him. Indiana's only 25th in the league defending inside 10 feet, and Zion scores like nearly all of his points in the paint. So I do think that he's going to have some success driving to the rim here. And the Pacers also foul a bunch, and they're not very good defending in like isolation, post ups, pick and roll. Like Zion does a little bit of everything. So I just think that he's going to be getting to the rim kind of at will in this game. And I do think he's going to finish. So I really like him to have 24 plus points here.
Yeah, I do. I like that, Zach. The other one that did stick out to me a little bit is this total feels a little light to me. It just feels like a lot of recency with the Pacers defense coming into play. I mean, you still go look season long wise. It's not like you're talking about an overall great defense here with Indiana. So at 238.5, I see on the board right now, 239.5. Man, I don't know. I guess I expected this to be in the low 240s. So that does stick out to me a bit.
Yeah, I think that I would lean over as well. I don't think that either of these teams, like also like when you factor in like neither of them have a reason to win ever, it's like there's not going to be a lot of defense played. Everyone's just going to be looking to get their numbers. And I could see it being just up and down with a lot of shot making.
Well, see, like yes and no, right? That was part of where like I've kind of had the Pelicans circled for like a month as like maybe an over on their win total bet because they made that dumb trade and they don't control their first round pick for this upcoming season, right? So like I don't like. Are they going to be in full tank mode like some of these other teams? I don't really know that I expect that they will be.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure the front office doesn't want them to be in tank mode, but I think at a certain point, the players probably are just like checked out on the year and they're got to be reaching that point somewhat soon.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to Cavaliers 76ers. This is a game where it's really interesting because it's, one of those 2-game sets that we've been seeing in the NBA more often lately, but it tips at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Sixers are 2.5-point favorites. Total is 232.5. I grabbed the Sixers in this game at minus 120, and I believe you have some feelings on this game as well. So why don't you let me know what you think?
Yeah, no, I like your bet. I got close to pulling the trigger on it, and you know what, Zach, you might have just pushed me over the edge. I don't like playing these games. By the way, like you talked about these 2-game sets we've seen. I think it's a lot of my football, basketball, NBA playoff brain that just gets in the way of once you've seen a team once. Who's going to make adjustments based off of that recency? Honestly, it's just something I think it gets in my head. I think it screws up with my betting a little bit. So often I just avoid these. But I liked Philly the other night. I like them in this one too. It's out to 2.5, 3 now. I probably wouldn't lay more than 3 in this game. But yeah, I do like your play. It was definitely a heavy Philadelphia lead for me. So I might end up there with you.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned Cleveland's missing Darius Garland and Sam Merrill tonight.
Yeah.
Max Strus and Dean Wade are also out. Like, these are 4 rotation players, even though we have not seen Max Strus this season. Don't know when he's going to be coming back, but Embiid's probable for Philly. It looks like the Sixers will have everybody. And with these 2-game sets, I do think that I kind of lean towards the team that lost the first game, especially when they're somewhat close. And it wasn't just a loss. Cleveland went into Philly and absolutely beat them down. So I think there's going to be some incentive to get back in the win column here if you're the Sixers. And I do think they're going to do it. Like, I actually had the Cavaliers last game in a parlay, but I did mention like Cleveland has some superior like advanced stats on the season, but it's close enough that, like I said, like you come off a loss, you're playing at home 2 games in a row, you should be able to figure it out, especially with the Cavaliers missing some of their best players.
All right, 76ers money line. I'm in with you, Zach.
There we go. All right, well, let's move on now to Bulls at Nets. This is a game that tips at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Nets are 2.5-point favorites. The total is 226.5. This is another one where I'm playing the home favorite. I have the Nets money line minus 125, and it's really just a matter of Chicago playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. They're only 58-66 in this situation under Billy Donovan, so not great when you're talking about their overall record playing with this short of rest. And over, the last 2 months or so, we've seen a really strong version of Brooklyn. I know I had this team to win the other night against the Pelicans. They ended up losing a close one, but since December 1st, they're 16th in the league in efficiency differential when looking at cleaning the glass. Chicago is down at 22nd. and the Nets are like minus 0.1. The Bulls are minus 3.1. Like, it's a pretty big difference when you're talking about the points per 100 possessions. And I also like that, like, over that span, the Nets are 7th in the league in points allowed per 100 at 113.0. And I just kind of think, like, this isn't football, but like the Brooklyn defense is the best, unit on the floor is what I would say about this game. And I do think that they have enough shot making to take advantage of a pretty bad Bulls defense.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Brooklyn defense being the best unit of this game. What a pathetic matchup. This is. You have fun betting this one, Zach. I hear you on the Nets, but man, even kind of just super recent numbers. 3 and 6 ATS over the last 9. I mean, you're got 1 win. 2 wins in their last 10. 1 in their last 9. Yeah, this could be a big pass for me.
Yeah, it's been ugly for sure, but yeah, you gotta try to find the smallest edges when you can.
Hey, they're covering some. I mean, no shocker. They're dogs in like every single one of these games, and they are covering some of those numbers, though.
We're getting ready for Big Game 60 with a big deal to match. Save $60 off a VSiN Pro annual subscription when you sign up using promo code HARDWOOD, all one word. Become a VSiN Pro annual subscriber. Bet smarter all year long with full access to our daily best bets from VSiN hosts and guests, real-time DraftKings and Circa betting splits, AI-powered prop tools and matchup analysis, 24/7 video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus all of our betting guides and expert picks for the Super Bowl and upcoming March Madness. Don't miss out on this big game deal. Visit vsin.com/subscribe and use promo code HARDWOOD to save $60 off a VSiN Pro annual subscription today. That's vsin.com/subscribe and Hardwood, HARDWOOD. Let's move on now to Clippers at Raptors. This is actually a game that I am somewhat excited for on a slate that's not all that good. And the Clippers are laying 1.5 in Toronto. The total's 215.5. Do you have any thoughts with this one?
Yeah, I do. Massive injury notes, though, right? You've got Kawhi questionable, Zubac questionable, John Collins questionable on the Clippers side. Manuel Quickley questionable, which I guess is an upgrade, right? For Quickley, and then RJ Barrett out. Obviously, Jakob Poeltl's still out. So a lot of stars for these two teams questionable right now. There's certain games you're going to go to bed at the NBA where you just got to kind of wait until you, unless you've got a better idea than what the injury reports are telling you. I think you just got to wait for a little bit later in the day to figure out what's going on with these two sides. If they were both healthy, Zach, yeah, this would be probably lean to the Clippers for me with how they've been playing recently. I also think the one I'm most interested in this game, depending on who gets cleared, is the total. I know both of these teams have been playing impressive defense, and deservedly so. This number is low. I think it's too low, though. I think we've gotten too low. If some of these guys go that actually can score here, I'll be looking over 215.5, 216.
Yeah, I have leans on the Clippers and the over as well, and I do think that Los Angeles would be a play if I know Kawhi's playing.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with Zubac missing this game. I'd be fine with Collins missing this game, but if Kawhi's in, I think that the Clippers should win this one. But I actually did take Brandon Ingram over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 115, and that really just boils down to, like, no RJ Barrett. You mentioned it, Emmanuel Quickley's questionable, and like when Barrett doesn't play, Ingram averages 34 points, rebounds, and assists. And the one game that he played without both of them, he had like 44. So there's, a pretty good chance that, he's in a favorable situation coming into this game. And over the last 7 games, he's been rebounding really well, 7.4 rebounds per game. And we know he's going to have a bit of an expanded role offensively with no Barrett. So I do think this is going to be a game where we actually see him put up some big numbers. And I will say, like, the Clippers, for as much as they've improved over the last 2 months and they're kind of right back in the playoff mix, the defense hasn't been as good as it's been in, recent seasons. It's still kind of middle of the pack, and the offense has been, carrying them a little bit. So I do think it's a game where he can get his numbers.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, he's going to have to, right? I'm also just watching the board. Someone just brought a sledgehammer in and bet this over on the Pelicans Pacers that we were just talking about, because I jumped from 238.5 to 241.5.
Man, might be our producer, Matt.
There it is. Matt listening and firing away. Expected money there, moving the market.
All right, well, let's move on now to Timberwolves at Rockets. The Rockets are laying 4.5 points. The total is 221.5, and this is a game where Anthony Edwards will be out for Minnesota again, and that does make things pretty tricky because the rest situation is great for the Timberwolves. They've had 2 full days off. We haven't seen them play since Tuesday, and the Rockets, they got blown out by the Thunder last night, but as you said, it was really a fourth quarter thing, and KD still played 37 minutes, Ahmed Thompson still played 40, so rest does favor Minnesota, but I did actually take the Rockets in a money line parlay with the next game we'll talk about. I parlayed it with the Kings, but it is going to be a little bit shaky, and I'm definitely a little bit worried about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You and I have had many text conversations about this Minnesota Timberwolves team. They are maybe the team that's burned me the most the past couple of years. They play up and down to competition. It seems like every time you think you've got a good hold on what they're doing, they end up losing a bunch of games or winning a bunch of games. At least that's how it's gone for me. So kind of a stay away, but I mean, just since December 29th, this is your best team in the NBA when it comes to net rating over outside of garbage time minutes. 7-2 straight up, plus 13.3 net. Best offensive team, 6th best defensive team. Just sucks. This is a great matchup. It sucks that Anthony Edwards is out of this game, right? Like that. I would love to see both these teams at full strength. And like you said, I definitely had this circled as look at Minnesota side because Houston coming off an OKC matchup. And that you just brought it up. Those guys logging pretty serious minutes last night. You're gonna have some tired legs coming in against Minnesota, but no Ant. I don't know about you. I don't know where Ant falls in my top 20, top 30, NBA players, but his offense is just so important for this team. It's hard, especially against a team like Houston. It's hard for me to go to battle with them down Ant. So going to be a pass for me. I'm interested to hear. You think his numbers just swung too far with Houston?
No, I mean, I took the Rockets money line and I parlayed it with the Kings money line. And it's plus 118. I think that like you look at this Minnesota team and they played really well against Milwaukee the other night with no, Edwards or Gobert, but like this is a completely different challenge. I think that Edwards, like you just said, one of the best offensive players in the league going against a Rockets team that is 7th in the league in adjusted defensive rating. Like I just don't know where the offense is going to come from outside of Randall, and like Houston has a ton of size for Randall. So I do think this is a really good matchup for Houston to get back in the win column. And with the other game, like we'll talk about that one in a second, but the Kings are just trying and the Wizards probably aren't. But I just think Minnesota, like I'm with you. Like this has been one of the best teams in the league since the start of the new year and like since December 1st. Like I did add futures on the Timberwolves. I talked about that I believe 2 or 3 days ago, and I texted you and JVT about it. Like I have 25-1 to win the NBA title. I have 40-1 to win the West. And some of that has to do with what we've seen from the Timberwolves already. And some of it has to do with the fact that they're apparently being really aggressive and trying to, add guard help. So I definitely am very high on this team and what they can do in the postseason. But I do think that just winning without Edwards in a tough Western Conference game is going to be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we can get into that second game now, and this is the last game of the night, but we'll talk a little bit more after that. But it's the Wizards at the Kings, 10 p.m. Eastern tip. The Kings are 7.5 point favorites. The total is 233.5. And like I said, I took the Rockets money line against the Timberwolves. I parlayed it with the Kings money line in this game. I don't really want to touch the points, but the Wizards have lost 4 in a row. They've also lost 5 of their last 6. The Kings out of nowhere, have won 3 in a row and they've covered in 4 of their last 5. And the wins aren't just wins. They're wins over Houston, the Lakers, the Knicks. Like this team is weirdly playing better. And they do have a better, season-long net rating than the Wizards, although that is comparing minus 10.1 to minus 11.3. So both very bad, but Sacramento, like they never tank. They always seem to think that they have a chance of making the play-in, and playing at home, I do think they're going to win this game. And I do think Sabonis might be back tonight. So that's another boost for them.
Yeah, that would be huge for this team just going forward mentally, right? But this is, I mean, the Kings have been one of the most disappointing teams in the season, which I guess you could probably say that almost every year. But it's still, I think we make the jokes of, DeRozan and Levine back together, but like it's just like they should still be better than what they have been, right? They should still be better. But this is, I am just looking at these past 3 games. So you're talking about Houston 3 games ago, 14.5 point dogs. They win by 3. The Lakers, after that, 9.5 point dogs. They win by 12. And the Knicks, 11 point dogs. They win by 11. So maybe just start betting alts with the Sacramento Kings right now. I guess that's the way to go. But no, this is I think for disappointing. So also, which means beginning of the season where I would have had these teams power rated, there would have been a significant difference between Kings and Wizards, Zach. I don't know if I can get to 7.5 though on this Kings team. That feels like a rapid. Oh man, this is one. They've won 3 games in a row. We got to move up their power rating pretty big with instant bonus coming back. I think that's a fair point to add. But I'm not running to lay 7.5 with this team right now. I would love. I think they could continue to be a good betting team going forward. I'm going to wait for Sabonis to get back in this lineup, see how this team looks together with him back in it.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Like, that's why I took the money line in a parlay. Like, I have no faith in this team to cover 7.5, even if they've been playing better lately. But like, the one thing I'll say about the Wizards, it's like they have Middleton missing tonight. They have Whitmore's out now, I believe, for the season with his deep vein thrombosis, which is scary. But it's like these aren't important, like that important to players, like Bilal Coulibaly as well. But like when you trade McCollum and Kispert, 2 of your only rotation players that you can count on all season, for a guy in Trae Young that you're not planning to play, you're all of a sudden just really lacking in depth in a big way, and you're really hurting when you go to the bench minutes. So I do think this is a team that is going to, kind of lose some big games, and it's going to be because of that second unit. Like Tristan Vucevic is also out as well. So just a lot of guys missing and just not a lot of talent on this roster outside of like the top few.
Man, it is gross what's going on with Washington. You are, I will fully endorse. If anybody, I'm not going to play it because I don't see another side on the NBA card tonight that I really like. I think if you're looking for a money line parlay leg, though, I'm with you. This is probably a good one. I say probably because it's still hesitant to fully endorse the Sacramento Kings. But yeah, I think, for those people out there that are really wanting to bet Indiana in the national championship game or something like that, you can get a little early start on and throw an NBA Friday night game in there.
That's what I did with the Seahawks. I talked to you guys. Like, I didn't feel like I wanted to lay the points with the Seahawks, so I parlayed it with Indiana because I don't want to lay the points with the Hoosiers. But yeah, this is another game, by the way, that I'll mention. Like, I do think Russell Westbrook over PRA is worth a look if Sabonis sits again. Like, he's been putting up insane numbers again. Like, it just doesn't seem like it'll ever end. It seems like somehow he will always end up in a role where he will have the ball a lot. And if Sabonis is out tonight, I do think he'll put up big numbers against his former team, which, another team that just gave Russell Westbrook the ultimate green light in Washington, which was kind of fun to watch. But yeah, that's all for the games for tonight. I know you wanted to talk about the injury reports though, so fire away and let's get into it.
I was just going to bring up just a broader, topic that, we've encountered as bettors this year is the adjustment and injury reporting and kind of getting this every 15 minutes and stuff is not coming, in at the times that we've gotten used to over the years. I don't know how you've been handling. I really entered this with an open mind. I think from just the sport in general, it's a good thing to have the more rapid, injury reports and make these teams stay on top of it. I think the transparency is good. Right, for the sport. I was always skeptical at the beginning if this would actually be better for me as a bettor because I think for bettors, you can kind of read into certain injury situations and just wait for one a little bit of news to come down and fire away. Just like, we're talking tonight, right? And Kawhi Leonard, perfect example in this game tonight, right? If we see him get greenlit, me and you will probably both be going to bet the Clippers. It was I kind of liked it better, Zach, when I didn't know when that news was going to come for sure. And I'd have more of an advantage to beating the odds makers to adjusting their number. And I don't want to say it's gone bad so far, but man, when you don't know, this stuff could come at any point in the morning. Seems far more random of when you're getting this stuff announced. I'll say, man, it definitely hasn't helped me so far. If anything, it's hurting me as a bettor because that was such a large part I would probably say past 5 years, 25% of the bets I was making pregame were based off of injury moves and just being able to beat a line movement from the book. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on it. It's something I've been kind of keeping an open mind to the past month or so, but I think I finally got to the point the past couple of days where I'm not loving this as much, where I'm not able to beat the book's move as much when I don't no idea at what time of day these items might be getting dropped.
Yeah, I thought that it would be helpful as well, and I don't think it has been. I think that the reality is, like, bad actors are just bad actors. Like, the other day, like, I was looking at the Jazz injury report, and Markkanen wasn't on it, and then 15 minutes later, illness, and then 3 hours later, he's out. And last night, like, I didn't even know that Yusuf Nurkic was not going to play, and all of a sudden, he was out of the game, and a lot of guys were as well. So, like, I think the reality is, like, they could find these guys all you want, but it's like, it's this guy Ryan Smith, who owns the Jazz, is like, what are these fines to him? It's like $5.
Right,
He
right.
doesn't care. It's like there's nothing they can do to like really make these teams care enough about these injury reports, and the tanking teams are going to find ways to tank either way.
Yes, that is for sure. That is for sure. But yeah, more of the star players on the better teams that we actually care about trying to influence a betting line is what's driving me more nuts. But yeah, absolutely with the tanking teams. Wait, no matter how much the NBA wants to talk about transparency and everything, those like Zach just said, teams that are designed to lose and have the idea to lose will figure out a way to lose one way or the other.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bob, before we get you out of here, any futures you've added lately? Any player awards? Anything?
No, but I got one that I've been sitting on for about 2 weeks here that I haven't fired on yet for multiple reasons. The Trailblazers over their win total. I brought this up like a week and a half ago when it was 37.5, and their schedule. If you remember, recently they played the Knicks, they played the Rockets twice, so it was kind of like they played the Warriors. I kind of had circled like, okay, I was going to jump in at some point after that stretch this week. Then Denny Avdia gets hurt, and I'm not betting it over on this team until Denny gets cleared. I don't know. I don't care how minor it might be. I think he's coming back soon, but it's a back issue. I think you want to be careful with that. I'm just waiting for as soon as I see he's playing in a game. Zach, I am jumping in on the Blazers over their win total. This team, 20-22 on the season. 39.5 is where the win total is posted at right now. I don't love it that it's gone past that 37.5 number, but they just got to play 500 ball rest of the way. 20-20 gets this done, gets that over home for you. They have the third easiest remaining strength of schedule, which I really, really like. Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant back in the lineup. Who knows about Scoot Henderson? But like, I feel like we've all forgotten about Scoot Henderson, which is maybe more revealing and says something more about Scoot Henderson and his future in Portland. But if he gets back, hopefully that's only a boost. And as soon as Denny Avdia is back in this lineup, I will be firing away on this. They're 11-6 in their past 17 games, 16th best net rating over that time. The big thing, one of the things that you and I both thought, I think I can include you in this, heading into the season, is that this was going to be a good defensive team. And we wondered about where the offense was going to be. We've really seen, what we've seen is kind of the opposite so far. We've seen Denny Avdia continue to play like he did at the end of last season at this superstar level and continues to get that done. So they really got a go-to guy on the offense, plus Shaedon Sharpe, plus Drew Holiday, plus Jeremy Grant, of what they can get done there. But the defense is what has really come along. They're playing like a top 10 defense now and have really been for the past month, and that's what the numbers say. So 500 the rest of the way with the third easiest schedule. This is a Blazers team I'm absolutely buying in on, and just waiting for that Denny Avdia news to come back in, and this will be a green light for me to bet the over.
Yeah, since December 15th, they're 8th in the league in points allowed per 100 possessions, and 114.1 is a really strong number. And I think Scoot actually will be back in like 2 weeks, so I think that really helps you. Like, I am still a Scoot believer, and I do think that Tiago Splitter has done a really good job of just kind of putting guys in positions to succeed. So I'd like to see what he has planned for Scoot, who I do think is really, really explosive attacking the basket. Maybe he gets the offense up to like 15th, and then all of a sudden you're talking about a team that's good on both ends of the floor. But I've been really impressed with Donovan Clingan. Like, I think that guy's like
awesome.
Should have been the number one pick in that draft, and I think that he's turning into an awesome two-way center. And I think that's going to be I like this play. I think that if when you get in on it, you let me know, and I might join you.
I will. I bet them they're over at the same time last year too, and that got home. So hopefully they keep doing what they're doing. Tiago Splitter. Hopefully you can have second half magic just like Chauncey did a year ago.
I bet they need to make him the full-time coach. Chauncey's got Splitter's done good enough that you could just move on from Chauncey.
That's kind of a great point. Like we haven't heard anything about that, and what are you waiting on? It's not like Chauncey Billups is coming back and taking that job back over. So
no,
I guess they're waiting till end of season. See, maybe this is a tryout for Splitter, I guess,
or they want the NBA to make the decision for them or something just terminating him permanently. I don't know. All right, well, before we recap our best bets, attention any listeners who are new to VSiN, signing up for our free daily newsletter is a great way to catch up. Delivered straight to your inbox every morning, VSiN's newsletter offers picks, data, and strategies for the day's betting menu. Sign up for free now at vsin.com/newsletter and start receiving your free newsletter tomorrow morning. That's vsin.com/newsletter. Stay ahead of the game and bet smarter with VSiN. All right, well, before we get you out of here and over to a numbers game, what do you have for tonight?
I joined you on the 76ers side, my friend. So I'm on 76ers money line minus 130. That is my only pregame bet for 2 nights. And then possibly Clippers later, but waiting on injury news.
Yeah, I might be on that as well. But I've Zion Williamson over 23.5 points at minus 115 versus the Pacers. 76ers money line minus 120 versus the Cavs. Nets money line minus 125 versus the Bulls. Brandon Ingram over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 115 versus the Clippers. Then I have a parlay of the Rockets money line versus the Timberwolves and Kings money line versus Kings money line versus the Wizards at plus 118. I threw myself off by saying Kings money line. I was like, there's no way I have the Kings, but yeah, I have the Kings money line against the Wizards at plus 118. So that parlay, we have 5 plays for tonight. Had a really good night last night, but it's been kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back this season. Hopefully we get a couple of good days in a row. Kelley, thank you for joining me. I always love having you on. Good luck, everybody, with your bets tonight. And make sure you head over to vsin.com over the weekend. I will have my picks up over there, sides, totals, player props, everything. We'll also tweet that from @vsin live, and I'll tweet it from my personal account @bettingonx. So definitely have a great weekend and join us for the Monday edition of Hardwood Handicappers.